please rise and salute the flag. Tonight will be led by the Junior ROTC.
Arms. You pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms.
Okay, tonight is the September 25th voting meeting. Mr. Okos O'Neill, roll call, please.
Mrs. White.
Here.
Mr. Kurtz. Mr. Kurtz. Mr. Martino.
Here.
Mr. Okos O'Neill. Here. Mr. Potts.
Here.
Mr. Rathcat.
Here.
Mr. Scott.
Here.
Ms. Tradowski.
Here.
Mr. Wolves.
Here. Okay, the procedures for public participation are printed in the inside of your agenda. There's also copies of the attachments in the back of the room for reviewing. Please don't take them with you. If you haven't already done so, we ask that you sign in. At the back, if you would wish to address the board at the appropriate time, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you'll be afforded 3 minutes to make your address to the board.
You can pull that off. We just got a new one. Hasn't been reviewed yet.
Under agenda edits, I was just told of one. We are going to pull from the consent agenda 7E.
We just got the contract. We just got the revised.
We just got the revised contract. Mr. Subert hasn't reviewed it
It
yet.
hasn't been reviewed yet.
But we could approve it based with pending the solicitor approval, though.
Well, we can, if you would like.
Okay. If you want.
Yeah, that way, unless somebody has a reason to pull it.
I spoke to Mr. Wright this evening.
Okay.
I'm fine with
Okay. Then we're good.
Okay. To disregard that, are there any other agenda edits by board members? No, we're not striking that. It is 7E remains on the agenda.
So can you just pull from the personnel consent item 8 to the
A.
I'm sorry, not E. Sorry, A to D as in David. Sorry. Well,
I got the same thing. Yesterday.
Just for clarification, that consent agenda item will be subject to solicitor review for the Pepsi contract. Doesn't read that way now.
So, yeah, that will, so 7E will also be amended to say pending the review of our solicitor.
I'll send Mr. Wolf under old business. I'd like to give just a brief update on the school budget.
Under new business?
Old business.
Old business. Are there any other agenda edits? Sorry, I skipped over this. Is there any public that wish to make an address to the board on agenda items? Seeing none. Under announcements, there will be an executive session following the voting meeting to discuss legal negotiations and personnel issues. Also, wish to acknowledge our representatives to the school board from the senior class, Mr. Theo O'Kersey. The junior class representative, Cameron Ross. Welcome, gentlemen. If you would have any questions or you wish to make a comment, please pull the microphone over and let us know you want to talk.
Quick, the tutorial on the microphone.
Yeah, we're going to get new microphones here shortly, so you may have to hit it a few times. And then Mr. Matt's back there squirms when they don't turn on right away, but we won't have that situation very long. Okay. Let's see. Consent, do I have a motion for the consent agenda, item 7 as amended?
Make a motion for item 7A through T as amended. Second.
Motion by Mr. Rathgib, second by Mr. Potts. Discussion? Mr. Okus and Neal, consent, please. All in favor?
All in favor of 7A through 7T as amended, say aye.
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 Any objections? Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, do I have a motion for items under 8 personnel, consent agenda 8A through 8B as amended?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Dowski, second by Mr. Potts. Discussion? We're yeah, 8 to D as in Delta. Mr. Okus and Neal?
For items 8A and 8B, accepting 8 to D, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Motion passes.
Looking for a motion for 8 to D.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rathgeb, second by Mr. Potts. Discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Okus and Neal, roll call, please.
Mr. Martino?
No.
Mr. Oaks O'Neill? No. Mr. Potts?
Yes.
Mr. Rathgeb?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Radowski?
No.
Ms. Bites?
No.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes,
Yes. Does not pass.
it does not pass.
Not passed.
Wait a minute, that's this.
Yes.
He's already coaching. This is to pay him the stipend.
The motion fails
For
4-4.
varsity baseball coach, that's not till the spring.
I thought he was already. Okay, no, okay.
Okay, moving to 9, finance. Do I have a motion for either one of those items under finance?
I'll make a motion for 9A and B.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dowski, second by Mr. Potts. Discussion? Mr. Okus and Neal, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Oaks O'Neill, yes. Mr. Potts?
Yes.
Mr. Rathgeb?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Radowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Bites?
Yes.
Mr. Martino?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Moving to 10, personnel. Do I have a motion for that? Any of the items in 10?
Make a motion for 10A,
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rathgeb, second by Mr. Potts. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? Motion passes 8-0. Moving to old business, Mr. Martino.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wolf. At the committee of the whole meeting, I discussed the state budget, and I said that they had imposed an artificial deadline of September 15th, which is now 10 days past. We still have no funding for the budget. Pennsylvania's credit rating has been downgraded, and the Pennsylvania Senate voted against the House plan to fund the bill, so we're back trying to reconcile the two branches of the House and the Senate. So when we'll have funding, I don't know. The governor claims that they'll run out of money to pay bills sometime in October. That's all.
I guess, Mr. Small, I have a question for you. How's the district standing as far as their finances up to this point? And I know it's a familiar question to ask you, how...
We're fine. We have received this fiscal year, in spite of the lack of the appropriations bill, in the neighborhood of $4 million in state revenues in various areas. So it hasn't been a complete... 2 years ago, we received nothing until January. So this year, we have been receiving some state money.
Okay.
We're fine.
Any other discussion? Under 12, new business. 12A, do I have a motion to approve the resignation of Mr. Kurtz as Secretary of the Board of School Directors, effective on the election of a replacement?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Martina, second by Mr. Potts. Any discussion? At this point, we have Mr. Okos-Anio, who's serving as you're the backup for the position. So,
I make a motion to appoint Mr. Otis.
We get a vote on
Well, first we have to,
well, yeah,
Oh,
we should, yeah, it's vote, we'll continue with the vote with,
sorry.
to accept Mr. Connor and Mr. Kurtz's resignation, then we'll get into the discussion that will naturally follow.
Why waste time? I'll put the rest.
All right. All in favor of 12A, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. All right. Now we're looking for a motion to appoint a secretary.
I would make a motion to appoint Mr. Otis O'Neill as secretary.
I'll second that.
Nope. A motion by Mr. Dowski, second by Mr. Potts. Is there any other candidates? I don't see any. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Congratulations. Your full-time job now.
With all the references.
They should.
Now we need an assistant. Now we need to replace Mr. Okos-Anio with an assistant secretary. Or at least until new board is seated, since there's very few of us transitioning.
I nominate Mr. Potts.
I'll stand.
You stay, okay.
Second.
Motion to nominate Mr. Potts by Mr. Scott, second by Mr. Rathgeb. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Thank you, Mr. Potts. Okay, I had sent around to everyone the slate of elected PSBA officers that we're running. Took out, like I said in my email, the ones that there was one person running for one position or two people running for two positions. And then there's just the president and the vice president that you have to receive a vote from us as a board. I spoke to Mr. Kurtz. He does have the login information. He can cast the vote, or Mr. Ocasinio could do that as well for whatever the board desires on the candidates that have the positions that have multiple candidates. So I'm opening it up to discussion. Has anyone looked at it and have any feelings either way on either of the candidates or the positions?
Well, I know Mr. Galt's obviously running for president, he's escapes right now.
Muhlenberg.
Muhlenberg,
Yeah.
He's also on the IU first too, so obviously the IU will for him on next Thursday. And the presentation that we had was for the gentleman running as county vice president as well. Vice president?
There's Eric Wolfgang from Central York
Yes, I was with the IU.
and Mr.
So that's being
Smedley.
back over there, but
Yeah, Mr. Smedley from Carbondale area.
I guess Mr. Galton was first.
I didn't, when you look at, I said I buried, embedded in the Word document, they send you a hyperlink to, their YouTube videos. And when I look at something like this, you want to take advantage of all the self-promotion you can. And if I'm looking at their qualifications, their interests, I look for the little things. One person went through the trouble of making that video to explain their candidacy, and the other one did not. That's my only input on. So I was preferring Mr. Wolfgang. Besides, he's has part of my name in it, so it's already there. Does anybody have any thoughts?
I mean, having someone that's in our local area.
Yeah, well, I think we agreed on Mr. Voigt for the president. The other two gentlemen, Mr. Wolfgang and Mr. Smedley, are the vice president. We have to decide between that.
So who's the one for president?
Otto Voigt. He's, like you said, he's the representative from Muhlenberg. Show of hands is for if we continue on with Mr. Voigt as the president. Okay, so we have an affirmative vote on Mr. Voigt. What about for vice president? Mr. Wolfgang? Okay, no need to continue further. Okay, so that is, so we are casting our vote for Mr. Otto Voigt and Mr. Eric Wolfgang. And I'll discuss with Connor how we want to do that. Mr. Ocasinio, to see who actually will cast the votes for the board. Okay, presentations by public on any issue. Sir, if you would like to address the board, please come forward. Sign in at the podium there and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hey, my name is Tom Sweat, and I live at 80 Horseshoe Drive.
Can you just hit the little button there? I'll turn
My
on.
name is Tom Sweat, I live at 80 Horseshoe Drive here in English. I'm curious, I've been contacting the school. What are you guys going to bring up for the parking permits in school here? What's going on? They keep saying you guys are going to bring it up whenever I talk to you.
We're going to discuss it later on this afternoon, this evening, as soon as we're done this meeting and make a decision what we're going to do.
Okay, because my curiosity of this, number one, we moved up here from Florida last year, and my daughter wasn't here for the Keystones or whatever. If you pass that test, supposedly the way it goes, you don't have to pay for it. Well, if she's not here, when we're taking, I think it's kind of, a little bit discriminated against her for not being, there's nothing we can do and pay it. And number two, I did pay it as soon as school started and have everybody in there, or most of them aren't even paying it. And then they told me that, well, if you guys do keep going with it, well, then when the kids get it, we'll pay for $10 a month up to there. well, I feel like I'm kind of being penalized, and if nobody's paying on it right then, and let's say you don't get till October or November, I'm paying for these 2 months. I know it's only $20, but it's just a retrospective, the thing that, they knew this wasn't voted on, we sent a check in there and they cashed the check. If they knew it wasn't voted on, didn't know what they're doing, they shouldn't have cashed my check in, or told my daughter, no, just bring the check back and we'll get this going. That's what I'm curious, if you guys are gonna hold a meeting on that?
Yeah, we're going to discuss that after this meeting, and we'll make a decision, then that information should be passed to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Is there any other public discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pott, second by Mr. Podolsky. We're adjourned.